Hello, 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 and sorry for that short little intro. And welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle. I'm Leslie Klein, your host today, all about here to raise your vibration, all about good vibes. And so, welcome to today. Now, I am recording a little later than usual, and that's because I'm going to the Tony Robbins and Dean Graciosi's event called the AI Summit. Shoot, now I don't remember. It's not a challenge, but the AI summit that he's doing, AI Advantage Summit. So that goes from 2 to 5. So they just finished, and yeah, it's really good. I'm sure you can still sign up and get the you know replay. So, welcome to the show. It is Thursday, and here we are. I am streaming to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, if you're watching on any of these um, uh, platforms, the words aren't coming today. Any of these platforms, feel free to share where you're watching from, or comment throughout the show. I'd love to see your comments and communicate with you even live as we're doing broadcast. So welcome. Today is Thursday again, as I said, and it's actually the full moon. So let's talk about the astrology of the day. Uh, this is where I like to start because the planets out there and the astrology really does have an impact on our lives, our beings, especially the fact that we're made of like close to around 90% water. This is so important because as beings of water, we've seen through Dr. Emoto's uh, uh, research that we impact water, and water has a consciousness, and there's so much to that. So that's kind of explains how when we talk and say things and the vibrations and things that are around us, that impacts us very much. So let's get into the astrological news. So we are in Scorpio already. The sun went into the sign of Scorpio on October 22nd. And Scorpio is also where the new moon's going to be in a couple of weeks on November 20th. But let's talk about the energy of Scorpio, and happy birthday to all my fellow Scorpios. I am a Scorpio as well. Scorpios tend to be very intense and introspective and mysterious. Our planet is Pluto, the planet of transformation, and also Mars. There's two planets. It was Mars originally, and then later Pluto once they discovered Pluto. Mars is a planet of passion, so Scorpios are known for their passion. So Scorpio is about transformation, rebirth, and intimacy, emotional intensity, and uncovering the truth. Scorpios love digging for the truth. What is the real meaning behind things? All right, so let's talk about the full moon energy that we're in right now. It's actually in the sign of Taurus. This is where this is the super moon. Excuse me one second. Murph wants to get in my office here. Come on. He's my little co-pilot. So sorry about that. Now he's happy. I had the door closed. So let's talk about the full moon. So, you think of the full moon and how the wolves and the coyotes howl at the moon. It really has an impact on our lives. So it's the closest planetary, object in our skies to us. So it really does have an impact. So this full moon. Now, this super full moon is also the second of 4 super moons in a row. We have one coming up in December and then January. And all that a super full moon means, or a super moon, means that it's closest to the Earth more than usual because it's an elliptical pattern or orbit that the moon does. So there'll be times where it's a little closer to the Earth and times that it's a little further. So when it's closest, it has more of an impact, physically and energetically. It's also called the beaver moon, and I would imagine because the beavers must be maybe building their dens and getting ready for the winter. So This full moon in Taurus, it highlights security and values, sensuality, material and physical grounding. So, grounding is really a great thing to do during this particular full moon. Um, Now, Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is the planet of love, beauty, and money and values. So, it invites us to ask, how am I valuing myself? Um, how do I feel about my resources, my body, my comfort, our physical being? And the full moon has to do with it's an ending and a culmination point, right? Because it's the sun opposite the moon. So, this is a time for releasing what no longer serves us and also harvesting what has grown. I've always seen it as more of a culmination and a harvesting kind of moon, but it's great. It just, the full moon, to do anything during the full moon is just makes it more powerful and intense because you have that light of the full moon and that alignment of the sun on one end, the earth in the middle, and the moon at the other end. So there's a particular energy tension that happens during that period. Okay, so let's talk about the next big thing that's happening this month, and actually this Sunday you will see that Mercury is going retrograde. It starts going retrograde on November 9th, which is the Sunday at 2:02 p.m. Eastern Time. So we are actually in the pre-shadow period of the Mercury um, retrograde. And so that means you're starting to feel it. And I'm starting to feel it myself too. Um, just little things like just not things working out or it's Mercury, so be patient. But that's what I always, for me, I like to know when the Mercury retrogrades are because then I know that if things get funky, it's not just me, it's just the energy and to be patient. So this Mercury retrograde is going to go until November 29th. So most of the month of November, especially around the holidays with Thanksgiving, and people are going to be doing a lot of traveling. So just double check things. And Mercury retrograde is great. It's a great time to do anything with re in it. Repeating yourself, reviewing things, refinancing, um, renewing. Anything with re in it is great to do during a Mercury retrograde. So just beware and know that that's how the energy is, and just take a note of it. Nothing to be, to get upset over. Okay, so let's talk about UFO and UAP disclosure. And then, of course, see, this is what I mean by Mercury retrograde. Usually, Murph, my dog, is very um, helpful, but today, you want to go now? So, yeah. And, just the fact too that I've changed the time of the stream. It's, so you don't get upset about the little things that happen during Mercury retrograde or even the pre-shadow period, like I was saying. All right, so let's talk about UFO disclosure. So, a couple of things that happened since last week on Halloween, on last Friday. Matthew Brown, who's one of the whistleblowers that was on the show or the podcast Weaponized by Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. He said something that really stuck out to me, and he streamed live for I think 4 to 6 hours on Halloween. I guess he does the gaming thing and stuff like that. But he did have some, commentary on, UFO disclosure. And so, one thing that really stood out to me is he said that disclosure will come from the citizens. So, I've been involved with the Citizens for Disclosure group. And so, things are leaning that way because the government is so freaking slow and messed up at this time, being closed and all. I don't know how you get anything done. But disclosure is still happening, and it's happening by the people. And just yesterday, I believe it was on Weaponized, which is a podcast. Just Google or just go on YouTube and put in Jeremy Corbell on his channel. He had a long interview with Dr. James Lakowski, who was with the DIA, which is what? intelligent defense. Excuse me, I don't even know what DIA stands for, but it's a like Defense Intelligence Agency, something like that. So he was in charge of OSAP and another program called the Kona Blue that had to do with UFO ET retrievals. And he admitted on Jeremy's show that, yes, there are ET craft that the government have. And he's actually put it in his book. And I just bought his newest book. The one's previous was called Skinwalkers in the Pentagon. This new one, I don't know the name off my head, in or something, but I just got it, and I will be starting to read it to just kind of get my head around this ET subject, which is so interesting. So he did admit that there's ET craft, and they've gotten inside, and they saw that there's no propulsion system, there's no wings, there's, all of the things that they were looking for, because these defense contractors and the government, they look for these technologies to turn into weapons. And this whole push from the citizens is to get this technology for the betterment of humanity. And so this is what all of the Citizens for Disclosure is all about. So anyway, that was a big key point. He also said that Arrow, he kind of got pressed by Jeremy, and he said that Arrow was kind of like acting like a counterintelligence. He kind of didn't say it directly, but apparently he's approved everything that he's put in his books. He's been authorized or approved to share, but he cannot share more than what he's put in the books. So that's why I want to read his book and see what we do know, what he has admitted to. So the next big news that's happening is this movie, which I talked about, Age of Disclosure, is coming out on November 21st, and it'll be available on Prime Video. There are a couple cities where they're doing some premiere showings at the theaters. I think LA, New York, maybe Washington. So you can go to that. But also the Citizens for Disclosure volunteers are also holding watch parties. So you may want to check out where the watch parties are. I know those are getting organized. I'm actually hosting one at the Murphy Library in North Carolina, Murphy, North Carolina. It'll be on November 23rd at 2:00 in the afternoon. And that'll be interesting to see and, meet with our community, people that are interested in this, because it is, I think, going to be something, along with AI, something that is going to be part of our future, especially being in the age of Aquarius. All right, so I'm thinking about giving you let me do this. Let me share my screen and show you a little trailer. I did this last week. Make this a little bit bigger, but the trailer for Age of Disclosure. So this is about the movie. Check it out.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I've worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis. But that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?
So that's the trailer from The Age of Disclosure, which is coming out on November 21st. So you can actually see it on Amazon Prime Video. If you have that, you can purchase it there. It's about $24.99. So check it out. Very cool movie. Now, another thing that, let's talk about Danny Sheehan, who is the head of the New Paradigm Institute, which is part of which actually kind of is the umbrella organization over Citizens for Disclosure. And so he has a full disclosure podcast, and you can check that out. So every week he's doing 1 to 2 episodes, and he's giving you great information. So check out tinyurl.com/GBTV Sheehan podcast, and that'll get you to that. Oh, I have a comment. Okay. Nancy says, wow, hi, Nancy. So good to see you, kind of, sort of, but I'm glad you're watching. Thank you. Yeah, so this UFO UAP thing is really going to be becoming more and more obvious. And, you know, one of the reasons is because these ETs are very sensitive to the nuclear issues that we have, the nuclear access. And I think Danny said we're, you know, on the doomsday clock. We are like 89 seconds before midnight. And as you've seen with our wonderful leader threatening to do nuclear testing again, this disturbs the ETs, because when there's a nuclear bomb go off or any of that, it tears the time-space continuum. And that messes up things for other ET civilizations. So that's like they will intervene. And that's what a lot of the military are not happy about, because these ETs have been around and shut down their silos, their nuclear weapons. They've also turned them on too. So the ETs are watching, because this affects not only us, you know, it affects them. And so they're taking, hi Nancy. They're taking precautions, you know, they're intervening basically. So, you know, it's not a question of ETs or whether they're real or not. It's a matter of like, how are we going to cope with this? There are many kinds of disclosure. But one thing that I'm helping with Citizens for Disclosure is actually hosting a panel discussion with other Citizen for Disclosure state leaders. And this will be happening live on Wednesday, November 12th, next week at 8 o'clock. And you can see it on any of them. Wherever you're watching now, you'll be able to see it everywhere that I usually stream. But also, you know, my main hub is the YouTube channel. So you can see past disclosure dialogues there. And so if you want to check it out, go to this tiny URL, Disclosure Dialogue 4, and you can actually on YouTube, hit notify and it'll remind you. And you could always watch the replay as well. But if you do it live, you can chat like now and communicate with us, ask questions of this kind of thing. So this next one coming up, I have 3 people that are actual experiencers. So they're going to be talking about their experiences, and it's going to be a very interesting discussion. So check it out. All right. And here is the New Paradigm Institute .org website. So if you want to volunteer, become a Citizens for Disclosure volunteer, or if you want to just get on the newsletter and just kind of get the news about it, find out about it, this is where you go to do that. All right. Okay, so let's now talk about the Oracle of the month. We are in a new month, so that means a new Oracle deck. And this month's Oracle deck is the Inner Temple Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. Now, Rebecca Campbell, she did do this other, oh gosh, I'm going to see it because it's of the green screen, but maybe this way. Oh, I have to put the camera on. Give me 1 second here. Oh. So the Ancient Stones Oracle is an oracle deck that we had talked about and used for a few months ago. So I pulled up. Then I'm just opening this card deck today. So I kind of picked it or saved it for this month because as we get into winter, go into fall and now into winter, we're going within as the light outside is, the days are shortening. This is the time that we start kind of going in, this is when we have fire in our hearths. We're getting cozy inside and we're also going within, personally and spiritually. So the temple within, and I was really impressed with this card deck because I'll show you the box, but it's really cool because it opens up and has it becomes like a stand, and you can put the card of the day right in there and it'll hold it. So you can have it on an altar or a special place in your house. So I thought that was really cool. And the other thing that was really cool is inside she has, a kind of blessing or intention that you would say. So let me go ahead, and as I shuffle, and I wanted to show you this. This was really nice too. This little band, the temple is within, kind of bound the cards. Now I did shuffle them a little, and I will shuffle them some more, but we will say this blessing here as I kind of shuffle and hold this at the same time. Okay, so the Inner Temple Oracle Attunement. I activate and step into my inner temple now, portal of my heart, home of my soul. Through the portal of my heart, I connect with my inner temple. Through each of my body's senses, I connect to my inner temple. Sacred below me, sacred above me, sacred around me, sacred within me. I activate the wisdom and power that has always been deep within. May these cards deliver clear messages and reflections to me and all those who use them for the highest interest of all. I'm guided and I am led. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So and also I'll show you in the box on the bottom, it just says you are an oracle. And I like how they have the ribbon there so it's easy to pull the cards out. All right, so with that intention, let's ask Spirit for a message for all of us at this time, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. And let's see what card we get. Create some space. So let's see what create some space is all about. Let's see. So she has 4 suits: the chamber suit, the activation suit, the soul inquiry suit, and the polarity suit. And I am looking for create some sacred, create some space is the soul inquiry suite. Sweet suit, sorry. Again, Mercury retrograde. Get to blame it on that. All right, create some space. Here's the message. Many mystical texts suggest that grace fills the spaces we're courageous enough to leave empty. How are you being called to make more space in your life? How can you create more room to breathe? How can you allow more space in your life? What would happen if you resisted the need to be busy yourself or to be certain, and instead, just for a moment, stopped? This card is encouraging you to take it easy and rest in the unknown mystery that's waiting for you, to be silently pulled towards your becoming. Life is a co-creative journey. But in order for that creation to happen, we must enter into a collaborative relationship with the mystery of life itself. Maybe you've been in overdrive for a while. Maybe you prefer it when you're in control. Or perhaps you've just been doing the same thing for some time and are feeling a little bored. How can you create more space in your life to both dream into the future and let life surprise you? What if by creating some space you were to find an unexpected blessing or the future fulfillment of a dream waiting for you there? All of life begins in the metaphoric and actual fertile void of the womb. When something ends, whether that be a relationship, a job, a TV show, or a conversation with a friend, many feel the need to fill the space with something else. But if we find a way to honor endings, to gather the courage to be in between what was and what will be, something incredible and new can be born. So it says, Soul Inquiry, how are you being called to create more space in your life? Well, that fits, I think, very much with this full moon energy that we're in. I've been doing like all these different meditations, especially, I don't know why, but a lot of the meditations have to do with this Taurus energy and about being still. So, kind of taking the time to ground ourselves, to be in nature, to get our feet on the ground and really ground the energy in. So creating that space, so that we're not going from one thing to another thing, and that busyness, creating that space. And we are coming upon the Mercury retrograde, which things slow down, and it's a great time to, take care of back burner projects and things like that, finish up, tie loose ends up, and this kind of thing. So that energy is what we're coming into this Sunday. So yeah, I like this card. I like Rebecca Campbell, and yeah, so it'll be cool to work with these cards this month. Okay, so let's now talk about what's coming up next week. So mark your calendar. Not that one, but another Longevity with Light program, just a 30-minute program about the Life Wave patches. If you haven't already heard about them, I've been working with them for it'll be exactly a year this month. And I've really found them helpful. A year ago, I was feeling very low energy, just like I would have a good night's sleep, but the next day I just wouldn't have the energy in my like cellularly, and and that's gone away. And so that's been one of the biggest things, besides some wrinkles and age spots and things, and um, that kind of thing. So I really like these. Now, November 13th, next Thursday, we're going to talk with Dr. Don Van Hulst, and he is going to talk about 3 of the patches and how they work in the body. So the way you can register for this free webinar, just go to tinygirl.com/longevity November 2025 with the L and the N capitalized. And check it out. It's free. It's a webinar format, so you're not on camera like Zoom. But you do have access to a chat, so you can ask questions and make remarks and things like that. So check it out. It's happening then, and watch the replays. Here is the link. Just tinygirl.com/longevity playlist, just with the L capitalized, and that'll get you to all of the longevities with light webinars that we've done. I've been doing them since January. So check it out. A lot of great information, and reach out to me if you have any interest in learning more about the LifeWave patches. I can get you hooked up. All right, my friends, we're coming to the end here. And finally, I want to talk about our tip of the week to raise your vibration. So last week's tip of the week was to practice an act of kindness. And, with the SNAP benefits being attacked, I would say, and only even part of it being funded this month, and being that we're coming up on Thanksgiving and the holidays, um, practicing an act of kindness, especially when it has to do with helping out at food banks and feeding other people, or inviting people over for dinner, or making sure that seniors in our lives have what they need, the food they need, and things like that. That was last week's tip of the week. And when you practice an act of kindness, it really raises your vibration, because giving, it's this giving, receiving. When you give, especially out of love, it just raises your vibration. So one way that you can do this actually is I put a tiny URL here. There's a podcast that I've been watching called The Dangerous Ones. They're out of Oregon, I believe, and they have a link to Feeding America. They were raising money for that. So this goes to Feeding America through their fundraiser. I didn't want to create my own donation thing, but I really like them, The Dangerous Ones. They've been following the protests, the peaceful protests, and just being I don't know, just a podcast of hope. Let's put it that way. So check them out. They're called The Dangerous Ones. But if you go to this website, if you want to make a small donation or large donation, I mean, whether it's $1, $5 or more, any little bit helps. And so, there's no reason why anyone should go hungry. That to me is a basic human right. So let's make sure everyone is fed. And this is a great way to practice an act of kindness. But that was last week's tip of the week. And this week's tip is actually to practice a full moon meditation. We're still in the energy of the full moon. It was yesterday at 8 a.m. And basically 2 days before a full moon and 2 days after the full moon, you're in that full moon energy for about that 5-day period. So anytime during there, you can meditate and connect to that full moon energy. And I found this meditation, just go to tinyurl.com/GVTV NOV25 meditation. And that will take you to a meditation by Master Sri Akarshana, who I've been following. And he does a specific one for this full moon in Taurus. And it's really, really good. Or at least I really enjoyed it. And I've been doing, like I said, I don't know, for some reason, I've really been wanting to meditate and create that space in my life, right? So anyway, I wanted to share that with you and let you know that, or encourage you to meditate during the full moon, because there's more energy during this full moon, and it'll help. I think it helps us with all the craziness and chaos that's happening in the world. We have to go within to find the peace and be that energy of peace, which is a good vibe, which is a higher vibration, and hold that energy, that space of peace. And then I see that like it projects out to the ripples out to the world energetically and really makes a difference. So, meditate, send light and love to the planet. It all makes a difference. All right, my friends. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I want to wish you just happy Thursday, happy full moon. Just be grateful for what's in our lives, and when we stay in that place of gratitude, we find other things that we can be grateful for come into our lives. So that's why it's important to really be aware of our vibration and where we're vibing at. All right, my friends, take care. Thank you so much for watching today. If you got some value from this episode, please like, share, subscribe. This really helps, get the word out and build the channel. And I really appreciate it. So thank you, my friends, and I'll see you next week.